Hello, everybody. Once again, this is Fred Wanko coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on Allen TV. In this edition, it's all Aisha Yesufu. This is Aisha Yesufu Unleashed. This lady is special. You're going to have segments going back and forth between the downtown rally and the little reception after the fact. Both places were kind of a little, the sound effect in both places. The sound effect downtown was fine, but it wasn't the place for an interview. The sound effect at the reception was not too good. So I kind of ad-libbed a discussion with Aisha Yesufu, but the bottom line is we got the beef out of her. And the beef out of Aisha Yesufu is she's a transparent woman. She's a woman that understands the politics of Nigeria and the blackmail of Nigerians. So she will do everything it takes to avoid anything that has to do with money changing hands. I bring that up because activists back home are doing an excellent job trying to bring about the good Nigeria. Whether it's Aisha Yesufu, Dele Farotimi, the news people who are on top of being fair in their news reporting and all that, they need to be funded. I suggested funding for her. Aisha is like, no. I'll get you guys to the discussions. It's not a formal interview, but you're going to like this woman, whether it's at the rally where she was Aisha Unleashed, or whether it's at the reception where she's having a discussion about this tribunal going on and the judiciary. You guys are going to love it. It's going to be going back and forth. Just relax and enjoy it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here tonight, or this evening, because we have a country. We had an election. A lot of you here, you sent money. You spent your money, you made some noise, you created awareness, you mobilized people, you put in a lot of effort. But INEC and the ruling party had a different plan. That is why we are gathered here. And we have to keep doing this till kingdom come, until the right thing starts happening in Nigeria. Thank you very much. I'd like to call on our big brother, Honorable Christensen, with the welcome speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to say enough is enough. How long can we continue to allow certain elite to run our lives, to see white and call it black, to see black and call it white?
The National Democratic Coalition, NADECO, is Nigeria's premier and foremost pro-democracy group based in Washington, D.C. It was initially registered in Nigeria in 1994 by a group of very prominent politicians and pro-democracy campaigners who needed a platform to fight the military regime of infamous General Sani Abacha. You recall that in 1993, popularly known as June 12, MKO Abiola won the election, an election that was adjudged to be the freest in the history of Nigeria. Long story short, MKO was thrown in jail. His wife was assassinated. Alfred Rwani was killed. And a lot of NADECO members were put in jail. It might shock you to know that one of those individuals was Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He was one of the founders of NADECO in Nigeria, and when they ran over to the United States, they recreated same NADECO, but this time in 1995. And since 1995, when NADECO was registered in the USA, it has continued to work for good governance and rule of law in Nigeria. So you see a group that has some history behind it. History is also very significant because for the first time, Nigerian politicians went across ethnic lines, religious lines, and political lines to form this coalition. Called that last week, the State Department imposed a visa ban on all the individuals who hindered the election. Shortly thereafter, a call was placed to the president-elect, which is a complete contradiction. You know, you're punishing some individuals for doing something wrong, and you turn around and call that individual or one of those individuals and tell him you did well. We recognize you.
I told you there is a method to my madness. I'm building bits and pieces from here and there and leading up to the rally where Aisha Yesufu spoke. You heard what the last speaker said about the two-faced play of America, but it's fine. We understand what America is doing. But before we lead up to Aisha, two more pieces I want to play you. One is a soundbite from an upcoming BBC documentary on Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's less than 2 minutes. But what they are saying there will tell you what will follow this man after his inauguration. And the other one is a speech by just sound bites, a speech by the Secretary of Afenifere in the US. His name is David NADECO. I hope I got it right. David NADECO. And also at this rally on Sunday was a publisher in Chicago. She publishes a magazine and she's also an adjunct professor in a university, Professor Adenike Olaoye. I'm just trying to paint you a picture of who came out to at least lend an ear to Aisha Yesufu. And I'm whetting your appetite leading up to Aisha Yesufu. Just listen to these.
This guy, Bola Tinubu, has just won Nigeria's election. He won it with just 37% of the vote and is a hugely divisive figure in Nigeria. President Tinubu was a former governor of Lagos, where he earned a reputation over the years as a political godfather, as he influenced the success and failure of multiple people's careers. Because of this, he is often called Jagaban by his supporters, meaning big boss. But to many others, he represents corruption, and at 70 years old, though this is disputed, many see him as just too old and incoherent for the job. They call him Balablu, after a speech where he tried to say hullabaloo, and instead said Balablu, blue, bulaba. Tinubu has been after the presidency for years, and campaigned using the slogan, "It's my turn." Opposition candidates have refused to accept defeat, claiming the election was rigged.
I want to bring you greetings from Baba Adebanjo, the leaders of Afenifere in Nigeria. Even at his age, a man that is about 95 years old is still fighting for democracy to be deepened in Nigeria. I also want to share my brother. So I'm bringing you greetings from Baba Adebanjo and all the national leader of Afenifere, the deputy leader of Afenifere, Kabiyesi, Adedipo, Olaitan, because I'm here to represent Afenifere and also to represent all the progressive elements all over the world. But before I give my speech, which is not going to be long, very brief, I've been looking for opportunity to honor my friend, who passed away more than 2 years ago, a firebrand for democracy, Oluyinka Odumaki. We are missing him today, but I wrote a tribute when he died, and in that tribute I said there are millions of Oluyinka Odumaki. Oluyinka Odumaki is not dead. The spirit is still here, and that there are millions of Oluyinka Odumaki all over Yoruba land. One of them is David NADECO. So every anti-democracy, they are still in trouble. On this note, can we just observe a minute silence for Oluyinka Odumaki? May his soul rest in perfect peace. Amen. And may his blood nourish the tree of freedom. Shout amen. Amen. Shout amen. Amen. Shout amen. Amen. Now, having done this, and thank God for these opportunities, for this grace, it is grace for me to be here. What a privilege. Who am I? For God to give me this opportunity to talk to people. Today I'm going to talk about the judiciary in Nigeria. And I'm not going to accuse the judiciary. I'm not going to, blame them. But Nigeria, we can ask questions. There's nothing wrong in asking questions. And what I have observed over the years is that Nigerians are not asking questions. We are not asking questions. Why is it that Nigerian judiciary is caught up in the cobweb of miscarriage of justice? It's a question.
As a follow-up to that question, a lawyer at the event asked her a question that had to do with the judiciary. I would like you to listen to how Aisha addressed that question. And if you notice, there's some noise in the background, and that's why I didn't do a more detailed interview with Aisha. We spent a lot of time with her, and there was a lot of insight. But I'm bringing you more of her and less of the direct question and answer. Just listen to the question from the lawyer to Aisha. The 10-second transition you're going to hear or see here is just a way for me to show you how much fun we had while being serious and what kind of a spirit that Aisha is, how she could go from joking to serious. Just take a look. We must have the evidence to we must have the evidence. Okay, please. Okay.
I'll send it. Don't worry. So you must have that evidence. So the evidence to overwhelm the court, right? Okay. And then because this whole thing, let me tell you, it's about data integrity. Okay. It's not about whether anybody likes anybody or whatever. Elections, the results were being what's the word I'm looking for now? Doctored, erased, clean, changed, you could see mutilated. Yeah. And so those are things that will come. So you see something, for example, something is 201. Then they turn the 0 and 1 to one big 0. And you can see it in a crude manner. So these are the things that we have to let the court, work on and say these are the things that are there. Then the other thing also is the nomination. The vice presidential, the running mate of Tinubu had double nomination at a particular time, even if it's for 1 hour. It's a double nomination that was against the law. The Electoral Act is very clear. You cannot have double nomination at any time. You cannot be a member of two parties at the same time. Neither can you have two different double, and you have to accept.
Okay, but my question is that knowing all that, knowing all those things, the problem we have is that when you look at something like happened in Imo State and the Saraki issue, right?
What's his name? Ahmed Lawan.
Ahmed Lawan, I'm sorry. Are they going to say, okay, we're going to go ahead, who's going to hold them accountable to do the right thing?
So the thing is this. First of all, if you remember, let's go back a little bit. Once upon a time, citizens were told they can't do anything about the politics of Nigeria. Okay. And they believed them. And until they participated in the process, that was when we can now clearly see that these people that we thought knew politics, they didn't. There's an illusion of power that these politicians have. That's why a lot of people say, oh, Tinubu cannot lose Lagos. Even when we're telling them that Tinubu, we're going to beat Tinubu in Lagos with big margin. So what normally happens is that when you don't participate in a process, you automatically throw yourself out of it. And that's what has been happening. In this whole time, Nigerians have never focused on the judiciary. We focus on the executive arm of government, we focus on the legislative arm of government, we never focus on the judiciary. This time Nigerians are interested. This time Nigerians are invested. This time Nigeria are focused on them. And I see what is happening. The electoral petition normally is always between politicians. But now citizens are involved. And so that involvement, that eye on them, and that's what also Nigerians in diaspora, Nigerians in Nigeria, everybody, the international community should put eye on the judiciary and say, you need to do the needful. In Kenya, when Kenya did what they did, it wasn't because the judiciary wanted to. It was the citizens that put their eye on them and said, look, it will no longer be business as usual. You need to do the right thing, and they ended up doing the right thing. I think so. Let's not work with the fact that in the past it didn't work. Yes, and then we allow it. Otherwise, we are self-defeating ourselves. So we will take that.
Okay, and now to the moment everybody has been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Aisha Yesufu.
Hello!
How can we forget today? We are standing and sitting in the midst of Nigeria's premier activist, Mrs. Aisha Yesufu. Thank you for being in Chicago.
Yes.
We will never forget the fight you've been fighting, and we are joining you today to fight this fight till we get where we're trying to go. I just want everybody here to remember that it's not a hatred about Tinubu. Unfortunately, we live in a country that is so tribalistic that when you try to say the facts, people try to split it into Igbos and Yorubas and all that. And I'm so happy that the secretary of Afenifere is sitting right here with us. It's not an Igbo affair, it's a Nigerian affair. Amen. It's a progressive Nigerian affair. I learned something from Edo people. It's the progressive Edo people when they said, Edo no be Lagos. In this election, Nigerians showed Tinubu that Niger no be Lagos. It doesn't matter who gets inaugurated on the 29th of May. This fight will go on.
I'd like the DJ to rattle us a little bit with some motivation. Chris, let's rise up to this. I'm sure Aisha Yesufu will like this too.
Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up.
Yes.
Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. You preacher man, don't tell. Heaven is under. And you don't know what life is really worth. It's not all that glitter is gold. And half the story has never been told. So now we see the light. We gonna stand up for our rights. Come on, get up, stand up. Brother, stand up for your rights. Come on, get up.
Yeah, I know you like that. Open it.
Don't give up the fight. I'm begging you to get up, stand up.
Stand up for your rights.
Get up, stand up. I said don't give up the fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me
When
with an ovation to welcome our chief guest speaker, Madam Aisha Yesufu.
We love you. Yes.
Greatest Nigerian people. Greatest Nigerian people. Of the greatest, 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 of the greatest Nigerian people. Good afternoon, everyone. Or should I say good evening, everyone? I think we played a lot of national anthem. We didn't play the obedient anthem. There is an obedient anthem. Do we have it? Yeah, it's okay if you don't have it. Let's just go. But let's remember there's an obedient anthem. You want to say we no go vote to Lodo. Right? Well, let's just move on.
Yes.
Let's say Nigerians. I'm happy to be here. In the last 2 years, we have consistently said that the Nigerians in diaspora haven't done the things they're supposed to do. And guess what? In the last 12 months, you have done that. You have been that changing factor that they didn't see coming. The moment the Nigerians in diaspora and the youth of Nigeria came together and decided they were going to focus on the political scene, see what happened. You changed the trajectory of everything.
Yes.
We say back home that we are citizens, we are not slaves.
Correct.
We are citizens, but for so long they have told us that we are slaves and we have believed that we are. They oppressed our parents and they have oppressed us. But what we say is that never will they oppress our children.
Amen.
We will have a country where the child of nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody.
Amen.
And let me give you the full quote, the way it is, by Madam Aminu Kano. He said, Nigeria will know no peace until the child of nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody.
No.
And we have a country where we know no peace. Because indeed, some people think that they are more Nigerians than other Nigerians. And we say no Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigerian. And no region is more region than any region. And no region is the deciding region for anyone to become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They dared us and we came out. They threw down the gauntlet and we picked it up and we say we will do it. And indeed, Nigerians did it. 4 people tweeting in a room in the Senate. 4 people tweeting in a room, and see what those 4 people did when they came together. Nigerians in diaspora, you contribute 3 to 4% of the GDP of Nigeria. You send in billions of dollars back home, yet you have 0 political power. How? You're contributing to the economy. When they need your money, the CBN will tell you if you send certain amount, they will give. They have an incentive they do. I don't know how many naira per how many dollars that you send back home. A lot of countries are in trouble because they don't have as much of their citizens in diaspora who have the capacity to be able to send those monies back home. We've gotten ourselves in a rut back home, and yet we need the money. But where is the power? None. Nigerians in diaspora can't vote. If you want to vote, you have to spend millions of naira, thousands of dollars, or thousands of pounds or euro, whatever it is, the currency you have, to go back home and go and vote. When Kenya Kenyans in diaspora are voting? Yes. And then we call ourselves the giant of Africa? What we've had individually, and like you said, like the last speaker said, individually we've grown. Individually we are amazing, we're great, we're achievers. But collectively, we are nothing. That's right. And that has to change.
Yep.
That has to change. Because the only way that they have had control over the citizens is because we are not united. We are so divided over so many things. It's either religion, it's either tribe, it's either age, it's either gender, it's either one thing or the other. But we're the same. The bad governance affects us all. When they tell me that Nigeria is not the same, it's not one country, I laugh at them. The poverty is the same.
That's right.
The bad roads are the same. Right. The corruption is the same. Yes. The lack of good quality public education is the same. The greatest injustice in Nigeria, you know what that is? Is that access to good quality education is dependent on the economic status of one's family. The moment you're born into a poor home, you're done for today. The same Nigerians who were born into poor homes, who had good quality education, who could escape the shackle of poverty, today they have destroyed our public educational system. It's no longer what it is. And I'm sure if I counted, there are people who went to federal government colleges. Will you send your children there today? We wouldn't.
Wow.
That's the country we have today. And so that's the same. We are united in that. If you travel in the air, anytime you're in Nigeria and you're going to anywhere, just look out of the window before you land. You don't know what country you're getting into. Other than Lagos that had, and the only reason for Lagos is because of those yellow boats. Everywhere it's that red corrugated roofs. You see the roads that are not working. We're afraid to travel on the roads to our places. The countries where they are doing well, they do not have anything other than the fact that they have gotten their leadership and together. And that's what the Nigerians decided to do. 2023, and I must give it to every one of us here, we decided that staying away was no longer enough. They told us that our votes don't count. And we used to say that if votes don't count, why then do they pay you for those votes? Today you have seen they know nothing about politics. It is all an illusion. When we said Peter Obi was going to win Lagos State, they told us it was a lie. What happened? All the rigging. They couldn't rig their way into winning Lagos State. They couldn't rig their way into winning Abuja. And so they really don't know anything about politics. The only reason why they have gotten away with it is because we have stayed away from it. And I'm glad right now every one of us is saying we need to focus.
Yes, the lady is firebrand. And we concluded on this note. And I wanted to play this at the end to show you that this woman is transparency personified. What the activists are doing in Nigeria to keep the flame of democracy and protest going takes a lot of guts, but it also takes money because they need to protect themselves. They need to mobilize people. And I suggested to Mrs. Yesufu that we have the resources in the United States if she would create a structure in Nigeria through which we could be fundraising here and sending back there because we trust her. We're not worried about what will happen to the money. And in her humble way and in her transparent way, she said, no. Just listen to the dialogue as we concluded at the reception. And while you do that, remember that the reason we didn't have a formal interview at the reception was the background was kind of breezy and noisy and it wasn't going to be too clear. And you'll notice when I'm asking her these questions or making these comments.
Aisha, we need to build institutions in Nigeria
You're somebody we have come to trust. What you're doing in Nigeria requires money. We in this country can find a way to fund you to. You point us in the direction of the Yorubas and the Fulanis and the Edos and the Igbos and the Bibios you think are worth funding to run in elections. We will find a way to raise the money. We know you want to be transparent, but we're saying you are the one we trust, Aisha. It's not about opinions. We've been following you way before you got involved in the media movement. For those of us who have our heads in the right place, we don't give a damn who is Igbo or Yoruba or Hausa. I grew up in Lagos. It pains me when I criticize Tinubu and somebody tells me it's because you're being tribalistic. I'm an Igbo man down to the blood, but God knows I love Yoruba. That's where I grew up. The bottom line is at the end, she said, let's leave off on the money part. But we challenged her and told her we're not gonna stop approaching her. She doesn't have to take the money directly. She could go back to Nigeria, build a structure, have other transparent people involved in it, and then we're not sending money to her, we're sending it to that NGO. But these things need to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Fred Wankwa, as usual, coming to you from our studios in Chicago with a special Aisha Yesufu edition. Until next time, good night and God bless.